This is Dave Lawrence from the California Type Foundry. So if you want to get more FontLab 7 videos, check out fontlab.tv. And if you want to see some of my designs and what you can do with FontLab, go to calfonts.com. And so we're going to go back in. We're going to see if we can finish our Fra Luca, that entire set of words. We only have 3 more things to draw. So what I'm going to show you here is we're going to do the L because that's next on our list. And if there's one thing to sort of get out of this, it's that is for font design, somehow things have been thought of very literally. And I think this is from the early days in the 80s and the early 90s of here is a piece of type. We're going to make this, we're going to make the, if it's Helvetica or whatever, we're going to make something a rectangle and we're going to make this other shape, a circle and all like that. But I think now with high resolution devices, I think now that it is, let's see, so what happened is these ended up being sharp, so we want to reharmonize with those better. We have separation in here, so we can just sort of jiggle that a little bit to get that better. And then we're going to sort of smooth all that out. Okay, see, we're already looking pretty good. So by thinking of, so let's just go back to one of our other letters. If you go to this, and then if I was just to zoom in here and I go, okay, what shape is this, right? There's no real shape to, there's not, you can't go, that's a triangle, can't say any of the basic geometric shapes, right? So that is what I try to go for, is I don't want things, unless I'm doing a computerized font, then I want things to be sort of a triangle or sort of whatever, but I want it to be an interesting triangle or an interesting sort of ellipse, circle, whatever, if you're doing that as a serif. But when I was going through Bodoni and when I was going through a lot of the people's stuff, whether it was the inkiness or whatever, their shapes are not literal. If they have a dot terminal, it doesn't look like a dot. It looks like a sort of ink blotch, undistinguishable sort of shape of, you can't really tell what that is. So I think that is the way to go, especially for stuff. This is for print. For computers, still need to have those geometric shapes so the computer can read it. But to get away from some of the more boring, so this is not necessary. I just mostly put that there to get the curve sort of the way that I wanted to first. And then you can just take that out. So you want to get rid of as many as possible here. Okay. Oh, I have a couple techniques for getting things really close to your artwork. Some stuff that I discovered here. So watch this. If I go to L, put in capital L actually, and then I put this to align left, and then watch, if I just switch between the mask and the body, I can tell how different mine is, and you can see where the parts that are different and where this is curving up more and all that. Especially on this side. If you want to get it aligned, take off the curves. If you want to get it more similar, then take off those curves first and then start here. This is actually, there's a couple examples of an L from my example, and one of them does not get pushed out quite so much. And I think that this is a different one. But see, if you are going to the inside of the fuzz like we are going, then it is going to look a little bit different. It's going to look a little bit crisper than the original. So the fuzz, I mean this part that is around here. I accidentally clicked the curve instead of the node. Okay, let's try to get this up closer a little bit. This part, though, is outside the fuzz, so maybe we want to move that in the fuzz to get it a little bit closer to the other stuff. So now if I go to this, you can see it's going inside more, but still the shape is pretty much the same. I didn't really keep in some of the chunky, see that chunkiness? That is not desirable for me, so I did not want to keep that in. This one, if I want to make it smoother, see how there you can tell where the node is from the drawing? Then I can click that and then see if I can adjust it. So the less nodes you have, the less precise, but the more smooth. The more nodes you have, the less smooth, but the more precise. So it's a trade-off. And so you just have to decide what is good for you. And this one will be able to get it smoother if I open up that curve thing, because it's the curves that are wrong here. And this one should be moved a little bit inside of the fuzz a little bit more. This is looking too thin, isn't it? So what we can do is pull down this whole thing except for the actual tip. Pull it down by 2. Okay. And then, did that. Well, we can go like this, and this looks like it needs to go a little bit farther to the side. This, we're going to balance, because we know, if you notice that the serifs on the R are way thinner, way shorter. See if I put the R, see, look at how short that is compared to these long ones. So I have a step later where I go and balance that, and then it does change more from the original, but it's still pretty close. Okay, now I want to start adding in my curves. This, I feel like the nodes are at the wrong relationship to each other, because I want it to be more like that, where this one is sort of in front. See if I delete that. It looks like, no, that's a little too much. That to me looks pretty good if you're looking at this up here. If we were doing it without these bulbs at the end, but see, look at how much just softening the serifs, look at how much that does to change how it feels. It feels more smooth. And that's a style choice. And I do that when I'm doing the Origin series. And it's also based on the techniques sfumato of Da Vinci on the Mona Lisa. Is when type is actually in its more natural state of metal type, the ink spreads things out, and it looks a little bit closer to Mona Lisa. The idea of not thinking of things so literal, so the Mona Lisa would be sort of the epitome of that, where you can't even tell when you go close up, you can't even tell that something is an eye or a hand or whatever. It just looks like sort of soft strokes and all that. So this one, see, if this is touching on the same line, that's why that moved all the way to the other node. See, now it's a little bit better. Okay, so this one looks a little too thin. Let's compare that to the F finishing serif of this thing. Yeah, it still looks, now it looks too thick. So that is about right. So we're getting to a pretty high precision level of about a 1 here on some of these things. And some of these things not like this. This thing is not exact. Let's go to the R. I'm sort of switching tasks here. Not so good for speed. If you want to do it, then get it done quickly. But if you do notice something that's going to just bother you, then sometimes that might be okay. And then getting this up higher, this maybe down lower. I sort of like that shape. See, we're not making all the shapes exactly the same because we want to have a little bit of a difference. This bracketing is way too thick, though, compared to the other letters. So I'm pushing down Option so I can get this here. Okay, there we go. So that looks a lot better to me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that the video has been interesting for you. Please subscribe down below for more font inspiration, for more graphic design inspiration, and we will see you next time. Thanks.